Meet Agile Reimagined. Because true business agility comes from freedom, not frameworks. Your best way of working is specific to your team. Yet you stick to a widely used framework like Scrum or SAFe or another Agile approach. Sure, a framework can help, but the smartest path forward often borrows thinking from several. Framework prison keeps so many Agile organizations from the results they expect. True business agility comes from freedom, not frameworks. Disciplined Agile opens your options. It breaks down the best Agile practices across frameworks to lead your team to better ways of working. Look beyond prescriptive.
Herkese bu güzel akşamdan merhaba. Ben Emrah Özdemir, PMO Türkiye ve Eren Özdemir ortak yayınında Disiplin Agile konuşmaya devam ediyoruz. Bu hafta güzel bir gelişmemiz var biliyorsunuz. Bu Cuma günü 17 Mart'ta Çevik PMO zirvesinde hem çevikliği konuşacağız, hem PMO'ları konuşacağız, hem de Disiplin Agile bu çevik PMO kapsamında nasıl yardımcı olabilir herkese, bunlarla ilgili sorularınızı cevaplıyor olacağız. Bunun için heyecanlıyız. Hatta bugüne erteledik bu oturumumuzu. Aslında dündü biliyorsunuz. Bunu yapmamızın sebebi de aslında zirveden de 2 tane konuğumuzu burada hızlıca ağırlamaktı. Bugün Frank ve Daniel bizimle olacaklar. Ama önce her zamanki gibi sevgili dostum Eren Özdemir'i buraya davet ediyorum. Eren.
Selamlar Emrah.
Selamlar, nasılsın?
İyiyim, sen nasılsın?
İyiyiz. Nasıl gidiyor zirve hazırlıkları?
İyi, yorucu. Yani her zamanki zirve gibi, her zamanki zirveler gibi biraz yorucu geçiyor ama keyifli bir yorgunluk bu. O yüzden Cuma akşamını bekliyoruz. Böyle zirve bitsin, o akşamki rahatlık hepimizi muhtemelen yapacak, bir mutlu edecek. O
Tahmin
yüzden
ediyorum. PMI olarak biliyorsun her sene bir ya da birden fazla zirve düzenliyoruz. Bu konuda da bayağı bir tecrübemiz var. O yüzden seni çok iyi anlıyoruz. Ben de 2019 zirvesini yönetmiştim biliyorsun. Heyecanlı bir şey. Ben de Cuma günü bir konuşmacılardan biriyim. Ben de heyecanlıyım. Ve de biliyorsun son dönemde böyle artarak bir çevik PMO, hatta daha önce de bir program yapmıştık. Sevgili Afşin'i ağırlamıştık.
evet.
Şimdi bugün de Frank ve Daniel bizimle olacak. Önce senden bir alalım, zirve için ne düşünüyorsun? Sonra da İngilizceye geçelim istersen yavaştan.
Tamam. Dediğin gibi aslında yani PMO'ların geleceği birçok organizasyonun konuştuğu bir şey. Çevik dönüşüme başladığımız anda ilk soru PMO'yu nasıl konumlandırmalıyız? Ya da PMO'yu konumlandırmalı mıyız? Ya da PMO'yu kapatmalı mıyız? Soru işaretleri doğuruyor. Burada tek bir yöntem yok ama günümüzde birçok Türkiye'de de globalde de birçok organizasyonda PMO'ların kapatıldığı, farklı şekilde konumlandırıldığı, değer ofislerine dönüşüldüğü birçok case görüyoruz. Burada tek bir çözüm yok dediğim gibi. O yüzden farklı hikayeleri dinleyeceğimiz için ben mutluyum. Bir panelimiz var öncelikle. Bir panelde 3 tane organizasyonun hikayesini dinleyeceğiz. Proje yönetim ofisini nasıl konumlandırdıkları ile ilgili. Hatta beni heyecanlandıran taraf özellikle 3 hikayeyi farklı seçtik. Yani biri proje yönetim ofisini doğrudan proje yöneticileri ve çevik koçları beraber konumlandıran bir organizasyon. Bir organizasyon apayrı bir şekilde hala proje yönetimi ve project based organizasyonu koruyan bir organizasyon, tamamen product base'e dönmeye çalışan ve proje yönetim ofisini kapatmaya çalışan bir organizasyon. Onun haricinde case study'miz var. Avşin yine bizimle birlikte olacak. Ve 2 tane keynote speaker'ımız var. Daniel ve Frank aslında güzel konuşmalar yapacaklar. Daniel'ın konuşması PMO to VMO olacak. Aslında ben de daha öncesinde bir dinleme şansı yakaladım Daniel'dan. O yüzden aşırı heyecanlıyım o konuda tartışacağım ve dinleyeceğim için. Birçok soru olacağını da eminim. Frank de disiplin Agile'da nasıl PMO uygulayacağımızı anlatacak. O da beni heyecanlandırıyor. Hatta Frank dedi ki ben sunum kullanmayacağım. Doğrudan anlatımla geçireceğim ve hikaye anlatacağım dedi. Zaten en sevdiğimiz şey. Öyle olunca da iki hem konuşmalar hem panel hem case study'ler yapacağımız birkaç arada aktivite ve workshoplar da var. Onlar bizi heyecanlandırıyor.
Tam da ona ihtiyacımız var. Haklısın. Bu arada bir bilgi daha vereyim. PMI bu hafta bir XMO. X bir değişken tabii orada. PMO olabilir. Value Delivery Office olabilir. Böyle bir makale yayınladı. Onu da katılımcılarımıza öneriyorum mutlaka okumalarını. Orada diyor ki işte konseptin neyse o olabilir. Oradaki değişken bir eksin var ama odak aynı. Gene değer odaklı bir yaklaşım. Bu arada Damla'ya ve Dinçer'e de merhaba diyelim. Zannediyorum saat değişmesinden dolayı biraz daha katılım bugün az gözüküyor Eren ama.
Değişme ve bir tane daha ufak konumuzda problemimiz oldu. O da diğer açtığımız, bu LinkedIn'de çok yaşadığımız bir problem. LinkedIn ta canlı yayına oturtamadı. LinkedIn bu sefer farklı bir kanaldan açtı. O yüzden eski yayına giren arkadaşlar şu an göremiyor olabilirler bizim açtığımız. O yüzden sayımız biraz az gibi gözüküyor. Ama güzel bir haber. Zaten bunlar offline'da kaldığı için yani benim kendi deneyimim ortalama canlı yayın katılımcısının ortalama yani bir 500-600 katı olabiliyor. Offline'da izleyen olabiliyor. Ben öyle bir rakam düşünüyorum. Offline tarafta da izlenme sayısı artacaktır bu yayında.
Okey. Harika. Bu arada Muhammed ve Yiğit'e de teşekkür edelim. Onlar da yorum yazmışlar. XMO vurgunuz harika demiş Yiğit. O zaman Eren ne diyorsun? Nasıl devam edelim?
O zaman bence Daniel ve Frank'i davet edelim ve öyle devam edelim.
So we are welcoming Daniel and Frank to the stage. Okay.
Also they are in there.
All right. That's a surprise. I like that.
Hi, together.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening. Good
Yeah.
evening. Good
All
evening.
right.
And also, as you see, we are wearing the same T-shirt.
Or can I? Okay. What is written there? I can't read it.
The All Vision.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have PMI baits in there.
Okay, that's good. I like that. So, Frank and Daniel, we welcome you here, and this is our webinar with Eren. We are very excited to host you tonight, and also we are very excited to listen your speech on Friday. So, what do you want to say about this concept, Agile PMO? Who wants to start? Daniel, Frank, who?
So as we make it in the same order as Friday, maybe Daniel start with the high level introduction.
Okay, why not? Yeah.
Sure. So hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever it may be. So basically the high level overview of what will be a high level overview on Friday is, and I think my Turkish isn't very good, but I did understand Aaron mentioning moving away from a project paradigm to a product paradigm, etc. But even beyond that, what we will be concentrating on is, if you look at what's been happening over the last several years, right, and the reason this XMO, the idea of an XMO moving beyond just projects has become important, what we're going to be concentrating on is highlighting the importance of having a unity of purpose within the organization. The silos should be broken down. This is something that Agile has been saying for many years, but really, if you look at it, team or grassroots Agile has not had a very good success rate in breaking down the silos. Silos continue to operate. We have seen over the decades, last 2 decades, semi-autonomous, semi-self-organizing teams work until the functional management of each silo eventually felt compelled to intervene for many reasons, because the C-suite may not see eye to eye, because we may have functional managers in a matrix organization who are rewarded for showing good numbers in their silo. So how do we take the idea of a PMO, which in its purest form in the last several decades has really been about execution only? Many of the PMOs we've all seen, as you know, the priority at the portfolio level is set. There's a tug of war. I won't say a war, but there's a tug of war at this level to see where strategic decisions and the money is strategically allocated. This is prioritized at the top, at the highest levels, in a semi-transparent fashion.
Okay.
And then a list of things to build, to do, is given to the PMO, and the PMO is told, execute. But the PMO only becomes that type of, and this is what we've been living with, that type of implementation of the PMO is, on the one hand, responsibility for execution without any participation in how the prioritization took place. So PMOs have long been between a rock and a hard place. The rock being the strategic decisions, and the hard place being the actual teams implementing the decision. And if you add in what I mentioned earlier, functional matrices, you wind up with a PMO which is struggling to deliver multiple streams, multiple priority one projects. I have seen, I'm sure as practitioners, most of us have seen organizations where there are 18 priority one projects. Well, by definition, only one thing can be number one. How do we get to that? We get to that by unity of purpose. Organizations implement priority 0, even priority -1 to start getting away from that, but it's the same idea, right? So what we'll be talking about is, what does it take to move the thinking, to break down the silos at the highest level, so that the PMO becomes an XMO, or a value management organization is what we'll be looking at specifically, which is not a new bureaucratic centralized function. Rather, it is an abstract locus or area of common consensus-driven decision-making that everyone can then buy into. So there are ways of achieving that. It's still early days. I know Charlemagne highlighted the PMI and the McKinsey report. So we've been on this journey for a while, but it's still early days. And it's still early days because it requires a break in the way that we think of our organizations. And it requires a rejuvenation of the way we think of our organizations. And as practitioners, consultants, trainers, practice leaders, thought leaders, we have to be ready and be in a position to influence the people who make the top decisions, and no longer be content to try and create self-organization from the grassroots or the team level up, because it will always encounter these these separations of concern rather than unity of purpose. So that's where we need to move today. 25 years have shown us that we can't do this from the ground up, folks. We've got to do it from the top down, and from the ground up, and from the sides. We'll also talk about other stakeholders, other stakeholders being customers, other stakeholders being functional governance and control and compliance partners within the organization who do not naturally usually fit within a PMO, but a VMO gets these players into the action. So that's the intent.
Okay, very good starting. Thank you for that. And Frank, as Daniel mentioned, this PMO from the top management, or yes, let's say from the top view, tries to see the silos and do take some action about these silos and try to be an agent, a change agent for that, right?
Yeah.
So what do you say about in practice? Is it possible?
As we know, and so made the experience from the last decades, what Daniel mentioned. I like it to call it, we need a multi-nucleus strategy. Multi-nucleus strategy means that, as also Daniel explained, we need the legitimation from the top of the organization. We need the knowledge. We need the base from the teamwork. We need the levels between. We need also the managers, project managers, and all. Actually, we are working in 2023. We are working, in my experience, says it more than 95% in organizations, as Frederick Winslow Taylor described it 120 years ago. And this is we need really change a paradigm, change a mindset, change. And actually, the most important from the VMO, I will not say philosophy because it's not nothing philosophic behind, but the most important is to concentrate on the value what we produce and what we can give to the customers. We can make the best projects in time, in budget, in scope, and it generates no value. So sorry, we fit the objectives, but we lost the business.
Yeah.
And
Great.
with the high concentration on with this value approach in every level, we are talking about the mid level. We must have 180 degree perspective. We must have a 360 degree perspective. And we need everyone in this organizational change. And we are talking, of course, every day about transformation, agile transformation, digital transformation. It's what I like to say. It's a transformation or better evolution. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a marathon, and it's never ending. It's never ending. If we start with everything, also by small steps, by piloted maybe with one team or maybe only with one department, then it will influence the whole organization, and there is no way back. There is no way back. I think this is important, and I will try to explain more on the practical view on Friday, maybe how to use disciplined agile. What is only is nothing bad. It's only a toolset, a toolkit. It's a hybrid process toolkit. It's not a framework, as we are discussing since years. And I'm really I hate this term. It is a toolkit and nothing else. But if we know how to use this really well elaborated toolkit, then we can use it for benefit, for better implementation, for better evolution, for better teamwork. And it focuses on every level, from the value stream level, from the top on, over all the departments, over all the organizations, until on the bottom with the teamwork, working with different teams, with different approaches. Everything is possible. And in one sentence on the end, we must choose our way of working, what best fits our objectives, and on the end, the value creates the value to the customer.
Great. In each program here with Eren, there is an opening video, and it says, "True business agility comes from freedom, not the frameworks."
Right.
But I think they changed they changed some things in that the freedom, because lots of people have understood freedom is you can choose your way of working, but in any way, it's not the same thing, because it's coming from the not continuous improvement. It's coming from guided continuous improvement. So freedom is not you can do whatever you want. Freedom means you can follow some of the best practices, but it needs to be scientific approach.
It's good that you stand there. Yeah. It's a very important point. Thank you.
I want to ask two questions, maybe Daniel and Frank, to you, because we are facing lots of time the same questions. For example, if you face with one customer, they are always asking about if they want to take from your consultancy service about the PMO or VMO, they are asking sometimes two questions. The first question, do I need to close my PMO? The second question, and they are waiting one answer, yes or no, and you need to say yes or no. And the second question, which framework do we need to choose, SAFe or DA? And Frank mentioned Discipline Agile is not framework. Okay, let's say us, SAFe or DA. That question. The first question maybe, do we need to close our PMO?
Okay.
Is there any one answer or?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Well, I can go for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Actually, we say, we're saying the PMOs have to evolve, etc. But a lot of companies don't even have a PMO. If you are lucky enough to have a PMO, even if you don't think it's very high performing, still you're amongst, not quite like you're almost in a minority. So do not close a PMO if you're lucky enough to have one. Make it evolve.
Yeah.
So the first question is a bit, to me, doesn't make much sense, because why would you throw away the investment in people, the investment in training, the investment in the experience you've accumulated in introducing a modicum of order into your chaos? Keep your PMO. So that my answer to that first one would be don't throw anything away. Make it evolve.
I totally agree with Daniel, because we have also in Germany, we have a lot of organizations without PMO. Yeah, it's not that every company in Germany has a PMO with high maturity and everything. For me, the PMO is an intermediate step. It's an intermediate step on the way on a value-oriented organization with a VMO then as important part of this, what has then the focus on the value creating in every part of the company. I think this is also much important, and never stop a running system and never stop a good running PMO. Evolve it, develop it step by step with the teams, with the people. Concentrate on the value approaches and on the values, and you will get better and better.
Thanks for the answers. I think it's also supports the idea with Eren where we were talking about, and we are saying that don't change the roles radically immediately for a change. This may create a block on the system because people might not like the idea of the way you change it. So I think it's a similar philosophy here. So don't close the PMO at all. So try to adapt it as everything else, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The most important experience what I made in the last 25 years, and we started early. I worked about 13 years for Lufthansa Group. We started really early with the Agile, but we tried everything in Agile and every approach what exists, frameworks and others. The most important what I learned.
I have a couple of comments about my most recent Lufthansa flight.
Yeah, but that's another story. Yeah.
Okay.
The most important was the only one who won the change is the wet baby. Yeah, and for every other one, a change is first of all is something bad. Then we must take the people, bring them, guide them, and bring them through this journey to achieve then the evolution, their next evolutionary stage. I think this is important. Every other radical change, or maybe also big bang changes, we create more problems.
Great. And this definition of change, I noted it for myself. I will keep it with me all the time. Thank you for that.
And maybe let's talk about the second question. If I ask this question directly to Frank, he will be angry, I know.
Okay.
Daniel too.
Let's start with Daniel, because he will be angry about this question. One company came to you and they said, let's start we choose the SAFe, or we choose the Scrum at Scale, we choose any framework. We want to start our transformation with this. We don't want to use DA because DA is the other framework. DA is very new. What do you think about that part? Do we need to choose one of them, DA or SAFe, or DA or Nexus, DA or Spotify model, or?
Well,
before our guests answer this, I like to mention that Eren is very good at pushing the buttons, but he's doing it so cutely. No guest up to now couldn't say no. I don't want to answer that. So
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
he's doing very cutely. So okay, yeah. Sorry. Continue, please.
But the reality is that, Aaron, you're completely right. That question is usually the second, sometimes the third, but mostly the second. And I too believe it's a bit of a nonsensical question, because really you should be asking yourself, and Frank will be concentrating a bit on this tomorrow, why are you doing this change? What do you expect to achieve with this change, etc. So asking that question, I'm going to get to the actual answer. I'm not skirting it. But asking that question is getting to the how before the why. So answer your why first, and that will help determine your how. And as for, obviously SAFE has a large market share. I personally subscribe to agnostic, agility, which is, even a deeper layer below discipline agile. And one of the tenets of having signed the agnostic agile manifesto is that one should not go about doing unnecessary framework bashing. They're all helpful. They've all brought something to the table. So it's a question of saying, well, if someone is advocating for a specific framework which does not fit the organization's context, then it's probably because you haven't really dug into the why. And if you have dug into the why and someone is still advocating for a specific framework, we'll dig into their why.
That's right. Okay.
And Frank, I think we are on you. You can be angry now.
Oh, I hold on me. Okay, that's
Okay, that's good. Thank you for the sake of this session. Thank you.
And also there is some questions that came from our one participant.
How
Yes.
organizations can manage the evolution of emergent strategy and central idea, and how to drive PMO, VDO, or XMO agile despite the contracts. Okay.
I can do my best at that one if I understand it correctly. So I think the participant is asking basically, how do you get away from yearly planning to allow for emergence at maybe a quarterly level or any other sort of level that fits your context? But also this goes back to agile procurement, right? How do you sign contracts with outsourcers of every kind or strategic partners that don't lock you into a win-lose zero-sum type of contract? Well, there's a whole movement afoot, it has been for years, agile procurement, whereby you can actually ink contracts that recognize, for example, that if the outsourcer finds a way to deliver a wanted user feature that is not necessarily meeting the exact specific requirements, but satisfies the customer, you're not going to punish the outsourcer because he didn't follow the exact lines or they didn't follow the exact lines. You're actually going to pay them a premium for having saved you money. So there's a lot, but that again, I was mentioning, right? A VMO is a meeting place of other corporate functions, including procurement. Right? So if procurement, finance, and HR, and compliance, and governance, and risk and security are not at the table, you won't be able to exploit this type of emergent strategy as well. So it's like a big ball of spaghetti. You can't just pull out one noodle.
As an engineer working in a defense industry, this is mind-blowing change, but I'm sure we will be there one day. Okay. Okay.
How many minutes do we have? As I know, we will complete this session a bit early.
Yes. This will be a short session. It's like an introduction to this Agile PMO concept and a little, let's say, sneak peek of the Friday's event. So we're really glad to host you here, and we are very excited to listen to your speeches on Friday. So, Eren, I think we can conclude the session slowly. What do you want to say as a closure?
Yeah, okay, maybe before the close, and maybe after me, Daniel and Frank can
course.
say the last sentence. But before to close, I want to say to thank you. We forgot to say this, and Dilek Koçak and Mustafa Hafuzoğlu is working about that conference a lot, and also we have 2 different volunteers too.
Mhm.
A small team, but they spend lots of effort to organize this. And also PMI Turkey support us to organize this, and we start the collaboration with them. And I want to say Mustafa and Dilek and PMI Turkey, and also you, to thank you to help us to create this event. And also I want to say to Daniel and Frank to came here to will share us with their also their experience and their knowledge. I'm very happy to listen to them, and that was my last sentences. And then
Yeah.
Daniel and Frank, we are on you.
Yeah, please.
Well,
Dave?
it's my privilege and an honor. I was already so happened I was already in Germany, so an extra 3 hours at this point. But I have to say also that Aaron's been nice enough to start showing me around today, and this city is absolutely breathtaking. And being Canadian, it blows my mind that there is the equivalent of half the population of Canada in one city.
This is a mind
But
blowing.
we need to go to some back streets, or yeah, we need to experience it to the different type of streets.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, and from my side, I like my business because mostly in training, coaching, and my business sessions, I have the last word instead of my private home. But here I have the last word. So thank you very much for everything. And really, I appreciate to meet you all guys then on Friday to work together also with PMI Turkey chapter. And I think we will have good discussions together. And yeah, I like it to be here. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I want to mention one other event before Friday. Tomorrow, PMI Turkey and GAMFET organizing a very great event about gamification. It says gamifies your project in 10 steps. Everyone is welcome tomorrow for this great development activity organized by PMI Turkey. So it's like a break for our big conference on Friday. Come enjoy your time there. We wish you a beautiful evening in Istanbul to you and all the Turkey. So see you on Friday in the real event. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Meet Agile Reimagined. Because true business agility comes from freedom, not frameworks. Your best way of working is specific to your team. Yet you stick to a widely used framework like Scrum or SAFe or another Agile approach. Sure, a framework can help, but the smartest path forward often borrows thinking from several. Framework prison keeps so many Agile organizations from the results they expect. True business agility comes from freedom, not frameworks. Disciplined Agile opens your options. It breaks down the best Agile practices across frameworks to lead your team to better ways of working. Look beyond